go back in time a little bit if y'all want to examine some of the catastrophic wide receiver contract extensions that the Dallas Cowboys have given out.
Let's go back in time.
All right. Do you want to start? Who do you want to start with?
Oh.
Michael Irvin's neck.
Not him. T.O.
I know. I mean, Dez ended up not working out, but I figured that might be. Oh, Roy Williams. Well, you only traded 2 firsts.
Yeah.
Joey Galloway.
Big deal.
Wait, you only traded 2 firsts there, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with most recent and go back.
Okay.
Des Bryant got an extension, 5 years, $70 million.
Hey, can I ask you a question about that? When was that extension signed?
After 2015? In 2015?
The week before the season started, or
whatever the last deadline was, it was like he ran up to the office to sign it. It was a big deal. I mean, it was a significant, huge deal that, oh my gosh, is he going to get right down to the last second? And then he magically signed.
And it was a gigantic mistake. Des Bryant had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. It felt like he was in his prime. He broke a bone in his foot in 2015, played only 9 games, and his health was an issue from there. After the 2017 season, he was cut.
Ooh.
So he had 3 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. 3 seasons later, he was gone. Go back to Terrell Owens.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Let's talk about Dez real quick. I heard Sean and RJ and Bobby and Peyton talking about this morning. And it was the question of, do you sign a guy for what he's done,
yes,
what he's going to do, or what he's done and the projection of it? And Dez had done everything he needed to, right? He was a star receiver at that point.
Yeah.
You didn't expect his body was just going to fall apart on him like that. Is that?
Yeah. I was always more concerned about the mental aspect of him phoning it in once he got paid. And I know the injuries were a problem, but it does kind of feel like he phoned it in as well once he got paid. So that was always my concern with that. Never pay for what they've already done. Don't ever pay for that. If you're doing that in sports, you're making a bad decision. But if you're projecting what they're going to do, then that's where your contract needs to be. And I understand, like, rookie wage scales in most sports are really, really low. And so they're probably thinking, well, I want to make back the money that I didn't get on my rookie deal. Well, if you're a team, that's a foolish endeavor.
So what you're saying is the first 2 years of your contract float through. Year 3,
enough to stay on the team.
Show it.
Yeah.
And then hold out and be like, all right, now it's time for an extension.
I mean, there's an odd logic to that actually makes a lot of sense to me, because if you're great for 3 years and then you want to redo it, you're probably like, no, but I was great for these 3 years. And the team's like, yeah, I appreciate that, but I'm not paying for those 3 years retroactively.
And you're like, well, you get 3 years. That's it.
For Terrell Owens, in 2008, he signed a 4-year, $34 million deal with $27 million in the first 3 years. Now, he was a productive player leading into this, but after this contract, he was released when the season was over. And essentially,
after that contract,
his career went a big bag of nowhere after that. And then think about how tough this time frame was, because a few months after extending Owens' contract, the Cowboys gave the Lions 4 draft picks, a first, a third, a sixth, and a seventh for Roy Williams. He signed a 5-year, $45 million extension. He was also 26. In his 40 games with the Cowboys, he caught 94 passes for 1,324 yards and 13 touchdowns. That's a heck of a season. But that was what he did with the Cowboys after they gave up all those draft picks for him and gave him an extension. And several of these players were young. So I guess my question is twofold. Will CeeDee Lamb be different? And if so, why do you think it'll be different versus, we could just say these 3 players or whoever else you want?
Corey, I'll be optimistic here and say yes. I don't think, and I get the love for Des Bryant. He has a lot of people, Alec might be one of them, that's their favorite Cowboy ever. Am I correct about that, Alec?
He says no.
Oh,
no.
Sorry. I think.
Who's your favorite Cowboy ever out?
Probably Romo.
All right, there you go.
Okay, even worse. So
wow.
there's a lot of Dez fans.
Yeah.
I get it. Dez was never as good as CeeDee Lamb. Now, he was close. I'm not saying he wasn't, but you guys are talking about fantasy football earlier and about CeeDee Lamb being a top 3 pick. Dez was, I mean, help me if I'm wrong here, at best maybe end of the first round in fantasy draft.
Yeah,
like if
top
you have
10, top,
if you have 12 teams, like somewhere between 8 and 15 is kind of like at his peak prime. Like I think CeeDee Lamb is just, he's another level, he's another tier, another level above these guys we're talking about. Where T.O. was at in his career.
Yeah.
Was late, yeah.
Roy Williams was kind of more of a hope. That was, does that make sense? Like, we hope he comes over here and is great or better than he was in Detroit.
They thought he was the final piece.
They really did.
Whenever they made that move to get him, they were like,
so
we're going to have something nobody else has with this receiver group.
I'm optimistic that CeeDee Lamb, this contract over 4 years, he will be a premium top 5 receiver in the game all of the years.
Okay.
Somebody did ask about Amari Cooper, and I don't know if you consider that a good or bad contract.
Look into that one a little bit more.
Because he was in the top 5 of receivers being paid. I mean, if not top 2 receivers being paid at that time. And ultimately, it did not turn out the way you expected and or wanted it to.
True.
So I can't tell if that was good or bad.
But it feels like that one was somewhat better.
Okay.
Than the rest.
I would have to dive a little more into it.
He lasted 2 seasons into his 5 for 100 deal.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's another thing. I don't think Amari Cooper was ever as good or is as good as CeeDee Lamb. So you brought up reasons for these players, and I like that. So T.O., by the time we talked about the other contract extension with the Cowboys, he was 35. So you can argue age on that. For Roy Williams, he just was more of a projection and a hope, and we did that poorly. And then for Dez Bryant, he was a damn good player, but maybe not as good as CD. So I think these are all valid reasons for why this contract extension for CeeDee Lamb will be different, because it's 4 years, $136 million, $34 million guaranteed, or excuse me, $34 million per year, $100 million guaranteed, $38 million signing bonus. So now I want to move to that. So you believe this will be different. Will this go down as a good contract signing?
Yes. The only thing that would concern me, and I think they're going to match up Dak with this contract, not today or tomorrow, but I think he's going to get a 3-year deal.
I got you.
So it matches up a little bit. I guess a CD would have 1 more year, but as long as Dak is his quarterback, I think he's going to have great numbers. Now, it's an unknown if Dak leaves or if the Cowboys decide to move on and you go with a first-round rookie quarterback in 2025. Sometimes your numbers could go down significantly, and CD's running the same route, getting open at the same rate, all of these things, but the quarterback doesn't have the ability to get him the ball as much as Dak.
You know what's interesting, Mike? You said when he was drafted, you believed he was a future Hall of Fame Cowboy.
Yeah.
And you felt like he was going to break all the records in the Cowboys receiving record book. There's still a possibility. Somebody was just texting
off
in
to a
asking
good
the question.
start, yeah.
I mean, it looks like Mike's he got that one right. Give Wyatt Langford some time is what I'm saying here. You know, give him some time. You were really hyped about him.
I know.
You know, so
he's worrying me.
Give him some time, all right? But and that's with CeeDee Lamb. You're starting to see those numbers look very good. So are you saying that the Cowboys are bad at recognizing it, or just bad luck?
So I don't usually, I'm not saying it never happens, but I think that other reasons are more likely than luck.
Gallup.
See, the only
does that count?
I didn't put Gallup in the list just because he wasn't marquee.
Yeah,
the way the rest of them
good
were.
number 2.
Yeah, but he wasn't big time or at the top of it like the rest of them were.
Does this matter at all? Dez and T.O. had issues. CD doesn't seem to have those issues. And I'm not talking about football issues. I'm talking about being a teammate issue. And there's a lot of guys that did like T.O., a lot of guys who didn't like T.O., and that was the issue in there. Dez at times, time was not a word that he understood.
Yeah.
I don't know what time anything starts at. I show up when I show up. I'm ready to practice and play hard when I do, but I don't know about this thing you guys call 10 a.m. I don't know what that means.
That's
you know?
true.
So I just wonder if, for me, being optimistic is you're not going to have to worry about CeeDee Lamb and possibly, maybe I'm wrong about this, I don't know him at all, his lifestyle, or at times you're like, hey, do you even want to, like what's the deal? Like, because I don't think Tony Romo and Jason Witten are drawing up plays in the sandbox or whatever.
Right. I have to admit that is also not a concern I have about CeeDee Lamb. I've seen some people say that, text in, and at least one in the Twitch say that they were worried that he was mentally fragile. I have CeeDee.
Oh,
Is
man,
that-
I don't think so.
I haven't gotten that sense.
Could that be based off? I'm not saying it's
The
true. Could
playoff
that be?
game?
Yeah, the first series or second series, they throw the ball behind him on a slant,
And then he's off.
and he was furious.
Yeah, and again, they never addressed that specifically that I've heard, and we didn't really know exactly what they were disputing in there other than was the ball behind me. Like, that could be it. I think there was a time, Kevin, early in his career where he didn't just take over the room. He had Amari Cooper there, and so he didn't take over and be the alpha receiver in the room, and they were the Cowboys actually questioned that and asked him, hey, we need more of this out of you. So once he did it last year. He got his opportunity, he took advantage of it. He did it last year. So I think he's done everything in my mind to prove that he deserved what he's gotten as far as the way you're going to go and produce for the Cowboys. Now, can he be a key factor in getting the Cowboys over the top and getting somewhere else? He has to be.
I think I'm in the place right now where he's a key factor to keep this thing going.
Dude, and you remember on draft day when he's on his phone and that girl goes and grabs his phone, he nuh-uh. I mean, that's mental strength right there. Give me that phone real quick. What do you think you're doing? Trying to talk on my phone right now.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
And they're married now?
I don't think so.
I have no idea. By the way, CeeDee Lamb, perfect time for him to cash in. 135 catches, 1,749 yards, 12 touchdowns, and Corey, your favorite, a 74% catch rate. All career high numbers. So clearly happened at the right time. But you also concern me because you're like, watch out for that contract year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb recognizes he's going to get good money now. I think he's going to continue being a professional.
Good.
But watching him in college and then watching him where he is now, he's done everything I thought he would do.